I want to take a moment and speak to why I do what I do on this channel, specifically in regards to the things of God, by calling out blasphemous things, calling out hypocritical things, really calling out the church in America in general, in really difficult ways. This is very challenging for me because I love the church. I strongly believe that the bride of Christ is very important to Christ. But what I see in the churches is, on one hand, you have what a bride should be, which is a pure, spotless bride, somebody that's been saving themselves for the groom, somebody that has literally dedicated themselves to this marriage and being ready for this marriage. Whereas in a lot of the churches, just out whoring themselves out like just some dirty harlot. And it's really hard to say the things that I say because oftentimes the things that I say, they hurt me too. And I know they hurt many of you. They're hard things to say, and in the end, I partnered with God from the very beginning of this channel, and He is the CEO. He tells me what it is I need to do on this channel. A lot of times I'm mostly coming up with ideas, but oftentimes God speaks to me in prayer and He says there's things that have to be said because nobody else is willing to say them. And if everything that I say made you feel comfortable and made you feel good, then I'm probably not saying the right things, because Jesus wandered this earth and He said a lot of things that made people very uncomfortable, and it made religious leaders specifically very angry to the point where they killed Him for it. So I kind of want to just take some time and say that I'm not enjoying this, that there's no part of this that makes me think this is so fun to call out and point out the blasphemous things of Christian church in America, satanic things, harlotry type of thing. There's so many terrible things going on in the Christian church that most Americans that aren't Christians are more turned off by the Christian church now than ever before. It seems to be getting worse. So again, I just kind of want to speak to the challenges of this. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I know that many of the videos that I'm putting out are making many of you upset. They're making you feel uncomfortable, and they're making you think to yourself, well, how could he say these things against the church? But the reality is it's not from me, it's from God. I'm literally being just a vessel, being used by God to speak out against the things that are making God angry when it comes to His bride. And He's not cool with the bride cheating on Him like it does so often. So, this video really wasn't made to kind of talk about the terrible things in the church. It was really more to talk about the challenges that I'm having with this, and that I don't find this to be an easy thing to do. It's definitely not something that I'm enjoying doing. I love doing this channel, but oftentimes the messages that I give, they're hard. They're hard things to say, and I believe that God is using me specifically because I believe that between God and I, just not between you and I, but between God and I believe He sees in me something where I'm willing to do whatever it is He asks me to do, regardless of the consequences to me. And because of that, He is using me to say things that most pastors are not willing to get up in front of their church and say because they're too afraid. They're too cowardly of what the results will be if they get up and speak the truth of God's Word in the face of the practice of pagan practices in the Christian church in America. And I'm willing to do it. So God's using me, and I believe He's using me in a powerful way to do that. And the purpose isn't to destroy the church. The purpose is to change the church. Because Christ is coming back. We're definitely closer to that day than we were yesterday, that's for sure. So we need to prepare ourselves, and the church needs to prepare herself. And I just think that, there are some churches definitely doing a great job at that, but the vast majority, especially the big mega churches, a vast majority of churches in America are doing the opposite. They're whoring themselves out for the things of the world. because they think they're better off by leaning on the world than they are on God, and that's not what good wives do. So, again, this isn't a video to hammer on the church. I think I've done that plenty, and there's more to come. But this is just to speak to really the challenges of this for me personally. That it's not fun. I'm not enjoying it. It's definitely, if anything, it lowers my ratings and my like to dislike ratio, so to say. It lowers my income. But it has to be said, and I won't stop saying it until God says I don't have any words in you anymore. But as long as God has a word in me, this is going to keep going. And I recommend, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that you're listening to the right thing. If it makes you feel so uncomfortable that you're just disgusted by it, I recommend personally you unsubscribe. Spiritually, I highly recommend you don't, that you keep listening and go beyond feeling uncomfortable. So there you go. I just kind of want to speak to that. Again, the things I'm saying, if they don't make you feel uncomfortable, then I'm probably not saying the right things. Love to hear any thoughts and insight on that. Put in the comments below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel on Patreon, that link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.